Domestic and sexual abuse are both alarming and sensitive in nature. Most victims are afraid to speak up for fear of judgment and victim blaming. This is exactly what prompted Filipino educator and entrepreneur Kyra Luthi to start a global movement called Hastag Breaking Silence movement. And tell us more about this, we have in the studio Ms. Kyra Luthi. Well, good morning and thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, we are happy to have you, and thank you so much for being so brave enough to speak up and you know, put up a movement such as this.
Thank you very much. I think it's now time for people to know that there's somebody here who has been a victim, because I've been a victim for a very long term, and it has been a debate in my mind if I'm gonna have to fight for this or not, or if I'm gonna just keep it as a secret and hide it. But now it's time for us to actually, women, children, to stand up and fight for what's right. And it's not just women and children who's affected here. It's all genders, the men also. There's no exemption. There's no status of living. You know, even if you have all the security guards in front of you or surrounding you, you can still be part of this. You can still be a victim of this. So it's really alarming, like what you said. I really like that, because it's now time for a country to do this as consider this as a national issue.
Okay, and do help us or help explain the difference between like our domestic and violence and sexual abuse, because once you're in a domestic relationship, you know, such as a marriage, it's like you never know where to draw the line.
Yeah, There's actually a lot of marital domestic abuse, and there's a lot of people who don't know that it actually happens. So that's why part of the movement is to educate people where we draw the line there. And it's very thin line, but it's very important to know which one is right and which one is wrong.
Okay, so let's break it down just a little bit. So what is a domestic violence?
Domestic violence, it could happen in marriage, cohabitation, so basically family, where you all live together in the same place, like beating, hurting, physical abuse, physical violence, and according to the Filipino law, it also includes psychological violence, emotional violence, economic abuse, which something that says that you cannot work, you know, like trying to limit a person by working, or religion, you know, try to limit the choices of the person. So that's part of the Philippine law.
Okay, and with that, you also have the sexual abuse.
Yes, and the sexual abuse, this is the sexual harassment, rape, basically what Senator Rizon de Veras is fighting for right now for women.
Okay, and last month you also took part in the Anticrimes Against Women Summit, which was held here in the country. You know, what were the key points that were discussed?
This is basically headed by the Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption by Ms. Cory Quirino. So basically in the summit, we were a lot of organizations that participated in local government authorities and even the Philippine National Police. And we initiated some laws that we can amend. You know, we talked about it, we discussed about it, and how we can protect children and women more. And what's nice about it is that these things that we discuss, these initiatives, will be passed to the Office of the President for consideration. So that's a good thing there. That's, oh wow, we're really making something.
Okay, and of course you have several programs that help and support victims, and you yourself was a victim. What would you say would be the one thing that would be difficult, like as a victim? I mean, in terms of speaking up, I mean, take us through the process quite briefly.
The hardest thing would probably be what would people think about you, especially when you have a career, because I started as an artist, as a producer, and then as an entrepreneur. And then, you know, there's a lot of feedbacks like, you shouldn't say that, you should just keep it in your, you know, keep it as a secret, hide it, because it might ruin your career, it might embarrass you. You might feel ashamed.
Still, you know? In this day and age, people still have those sentiments.
Sadly. That's why I said I really have to do this. It's not just for me, it's also for the victims out there. Because, you know, the psychological effects that happens when you keep something and you just put it in the back of your mind thinking that you're okay with it, but not really, really affects you
Well,
in a crazy way.
I guess when you're going through that whole ordeal, you already did not have the voice. And now that the ordeal's over, you still don't have a voice.
Exactly.
So this one allows you, like, I'm going to start doing something.
Yeah.
And making a difference. And we also understand that you are working with the grandson of the former South African President Nelson Mandela on Breaking Silence.
Yes.
So, wow,
yes.
amazing. Tell us about that.
It's really exciting because my dear friend and Davao, which we met already in 2016 in Monaco, we had the same background and we have the same interests on how to protect people helping people and making the society a violence-free society. So we said, you know what, we shared our common things together. He's doing this and I'm doing this. You know what? Let's collaborate. And that's what's amazing because, an African and me, a Filipino born and raised in Manila, we said we're gonna make something big and we're gonna change the world. That it's gonna be crazy, and we just want people to know that there are people like us who came from nothing to something, and
Well, I like what you said. People helping people change the world. And I'm sure there are a lot of people watching right now that would like to be part of your movement. Can they volunteer? So do invite them how they can get in touch with you to be part of this program.
We're on Facebook, Instagram, the easiest way because everybody's on Facebook now and on Instagram. So you can just message us. It's so easy to find us. It's Breaking Silence Movement. Just type it in, you will see it, and just message us and we will keep in touch with you. We always reply to people.
So these are for volunteers and victims as well?
Yes, yes.
Anyone?
It's just the same.
Okay, well, wonderful.
Area.
Thank you so much for Breaking
Thank you.
Silence.
Thank you.
And then coming with us here this morning.
So
and
happy to be here again.
So brave of you. Thank you so much. Breaking Silence Movement founder Kyra Luthi with us here.